Listen to him here bragging about the crowd size at his rally in New Hampshire.
Do you think that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that?
And now watch as Trump has a heckler ejected from the arena. See if you can spot any empty seats.
Margot Martin, who is the Deputy Director of Communications for the Trump campaign, shared a photo on social media of Dream City Church, the location of last week's speech by Donald Trump in Phoenix. She had no intention of letting it be known that the venue was not entirely full even when Trump was speaking. There were a lot of empty seats, even though the event was sponsored by Charlie Kirk of Turning Point USA, and the church had a controlled atmosphere. On occasion, Trump has inflated the number of attendees. He was recently shamed by Jimmy Kimmel for making a plainly false claim of a record-breaking turnout at a rally in New Hampshire. He made the confession before Kimmel criticized him. You can see that there are a lot of vacant seats, even close to where Trump was speaking, if you enlarge the picture. Despite the increasing frequency, this is not an isolated incident. However, the truth is rather different, even though his campaign manages to attract a lot of attention with its bold claims. Keep in mind the events of Wildwood, New Jersey, for instance. It was said that 100,000 people were there. Despite the fact that things are actually quite different, Trump frequently praises his audience for their merits. Despite video showing a large number of empty seats, he insisted that a record number of people attended a recent rally in New Hampshire. This pattern has happened more than once.
Thousands of supporters gathered at former President Donald Trump's rally at Dream City Church in North Phoenix this afternoon.
But I'm thrilled to be back in beautiful Arizona.
Former President Donald Trump was welcomed by a few thousand supporters from across the valley, all packed into the Dream City Church in North Phoenix.
We love Phoenix.
No one shows up even though the event is well publicized. To illustrate the point, Trump made an appearance at the Wildwood event to lend his support to a Republican Senate candidate from New Jersey who had lost the primary. It is entirely pointless that such massive gatherings achieved political results. One such example that is glaringly clear is Donald Trump's speech at Dream City Church. As the church presents itself as a community bound to God's mission, Trump was leading the congregation and yelling profanity. Both companies have very strict language codes, and I was in trouble more than once for using the word crap. This show would never have happened during that time, in my opinion. We must not deceive ourselves. The church has not progressed positively. Trump has changed the church. It is unfortunate when a church known for its hospitality and camaraderie is used as a platform for Trump's vulgar tirade. Despite Dream City Church's mission to love people and build communities, Trump mocks people who speak different languages. Even more striking is the fact that Melania and Czechoslovakia, Donald Trump's spouses, are from separate nations. This fact alone makes his hypocrisy hard to ignore. Their lack of integrity is astounding. But rather of focusing on unity and optimism, Trump spent his speech griping about his legal troubles and asserting that his New York trial had been unfair. It is strange and unproductive to have a convicted criminal preach about grace and community. There has been more than just the post by Margot Martin on the vacant seats. Aerial photos of Trump's events in Wildwood and the Bronx show that far fewer people than were said to have attended. There seems to be more attendance at high school football games than at these purportedly massive demonstrations. The inaccuracies were promptly highlighted through tweets.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you very much. This is some turnout.
But it is a win only for accountability and justice, albeit severely delayed.
The deceit was exposed in an instant thanks to social media. Twitter photos showing empty seats at Trump rallies in New Hampshire, Georgia, and the Bronx area have gone viral, disproving Trump's overstated claims. These lies are being propagated even though there is a mountain of information that contradicts them. When Trump's crew has used inappropriate language or behaved in an unprofessional manner, even Fox News has spoken out against it. Churches where Trump gives speeches are often just half-filled, while Vice President Biden shows his respect for the separation of church and state by attending services quietly. Trump failed miserably when pressed for a single Bible passage. Instead of using his religion to further his political career, Biden keeps his faith private. The image that Trump has consistently displayed throughout his career in reality TV, business, and political campaigns, that of a traumatized victim lash out in response to his father's brutality, is obviously at odds with this portrayal. This happens just as the Donald Trump campaign brand is beginning to falter. The president is now admitting that he is afraid of being impeached, despite earlier claims that he is not. Twitter, where he usually airs his most ridiculous fears, was the venue for his public display of dread today. His first tweet invoked gangster lingo when he claimed the Mueller probe didn't lay a glove on me. Subsequently, he denied being guilty. Criminals often use the term "didn't lay a glove on me" when they know they are guilty but have evaded capture. A president does not communicate in this manner. This is not the speech of a trustworthy and honest president. On top of that, the president made history by tweeting the most naive and desperate statement ever made by a sitting American president about the prospect of impeachment. The president has said that he would go to the Supreme Court first if the politically motivated Democrats ever tried to remove him from office. A question like, "What are you doing here?" would be completely out of the question given that the Supreme Court would not permit him entry to the facility they were inspecting. Trump is once again being shamed by Jimmy Kimmel, who is using a hammer to thrash him.
From 2019, where you can see a pouty little president refusing to eat his vegetables. Right? Mike Lindell must be rolling his pillow van in a ditch right now. With House Republicans to discuss how they will govern if he wins or how they will pretend he won if he doesn't.
The People v. Donald J. Trump case in the U.S. is winding down, and it seems that Trumpy is spending some time at Rikers Island at this very moment. Who feels weary? However, as was evident earlier today in the courtroom, there is always an abundance of energy whenever Trump is involved. Everything is in disarray under Trump's leadership. The term fraud is practically Trump's middle name, even though his MAGA crowd is just as ignorant as ever. They still can't get it, even though there have been visible manipulations in the courts. It was spot on. Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, Cohen is a sketchy figure, but he was our kind of sketchy for sure, they appear to be saying. What caught us off guard was learning that this establishment runs gambling operations. Over the course of 4 days of testimony, Cohen revealed details about Trump. Melania Trump's Madame Tussauds wax statue is one of his responsibilities, and he is offering guidance on it. Absolutely not. This is serious business. He had to guarantee that the sculptor could capture her closed-eye scowl to the last detail. Honestly, I couldn't help but laugh out loud at Jimmy Kimmel's joke. Imagine for a moment that Cohen has a to-do list that includes things like altering hush money payments, giving advice on tax processes, and making sure Melania's wax figure looks sufficiently bored. You may have assumed the statue was rather realistically preparing to petition for a divorce because they managed to portray that expression so well. In contrast, Jimmy is about to destroy for his child's graduation speech. Therefore, he has only just begun. One of Trump's best qualities is his ability to entertain us no matter what. Maybe he thought it was a spelling bee and would only know how to spell trumpeter, terrific, and tremendous. Now he knows what that means. Graduation storyline is about to start. The fact that it was a private matter didn't stop Trump from sprinkling his unique blend of ignorance and idiocy over the whole thing. The brilliantly shocking situation was concocted by Jimmy Kimmel. Melania stood between her father and husband, her countenance taking on the look of a discouraged gondolier. Meanwhile, Donald couldn't be happier and is flashing that famous "Eric is born" grin. I think he's experiencing a mix of relief and perplexion because he remembered his hair gel. That is absolutely awful, Jimmy. Why are you making fun of our orange turd? As Dad watches his kid graduate from high school, he is probably taking it easy and thinking about how he may turn the podium into a golf tee. And big crimson fat guy tie belonging to Trump was generously given to Barron so that he may wear it. Even President Trump's children may not have ever been photographed, except for Ivanka, of course. It's difficult to imagine it taking place. President Trump's decision not to deliver a speech in honor of the memorial ceremony is disappointing because, let's face it, he has a tendency for grandiosity, the capacity to recognize, assume for the moment, that he does in fact have something special to impart to these recent grads. But have no fear, Jimmy had the nice idea of writing a commencement address for his son's class and included some of Trump's more inspiring remarks, so there's no need to worry.
A felony gun charge, which I don't know, who does this guy think he is? Hunter Biden? wait, which president's son is on crack? Because it's sometimes, after months of saying Biden has the Department of Justice rigged, his own son is facing 25 years in prison.
There is little doubt that President Trump is not attempting to mislead this generation if he opts to stay mute. Maybe our American ideal wouldn't seem to be in such a shaky position while he's in power if he showed the same degree of kindness to the rest of us. Conversely, anytime Jimmy brings up the heated dispute between Trump and Biden, he can't help but laugh. Once again, Trump came up with some weird and amusing laws for the one-on-one meeting. Jimmy produced the ideal return. This leads him to assume that Sleepy Joe has trouble keeping his cool under pressure, but that he can hold his own in an argument when he's reportedly high on cocaine. Will a sarsaparilla test be the next step for him? To be perfectly honest, though, what are we doing if we assume that a drug user is an expert debater? My understanding is that such is not the case. Only the word meta, which ends in mucil, could describe Joe Biden's possible drug use. Who knows, to be honest? If Trump chooses to spend his time frolicking in Rikers Island, he may escape these arguments altogether. Hi there, the chance is real. While he may be behind bars at the moment, his legacy will ensure that a new wave of insane people, spearheaded by none other than Marjorie Taylor Greene, will carry on. This was more like a Real Housewives episode than a House Oversight Committee hearing, which is probably what you were expecting. Marjorie Taylor Greene learned her lesson in manners from Jimmy Kimmel's portrayal of the episode, even though she had tried to heckle Jasmine Crockett, a politician from Texas. Amidst the mayhem of partisan politics, citizens must decide whether to choose leaders who value polarization and conflict or those who want unity and reconciliation. One can see the contrast between the two options clearest in Biden, who stands for unity and advancement, and in Greene, who stands for a resurgence of chaos and disarray. If you want to compare and contrast the two options, Biden is the best choice. The American people, in the end, get to make the call. Will they elect leaders who are ethical, forthright, and compassionate, or will they keep putting up with the baffling antics of political charlatans like Greene? There is a high level of stakes because the outcome will decide our nation's future course of action.